The truth will hurt. Do you want to hear it? In Nier Replicant, you were asked, do you tell the hard truth or the sweet lie? While at the same time, you were given uncomfortable truths over and over. In this story, the truth hurts. It often doesn't have a counterbalance. And so it asks you, do you want to hear it? A dog astray. At the start of the game, you find an old man who is missing his dog. After looking around, you find his dog, dead, holding some herbs in its mouth. Upon trying to return to the old man, you instead find his grandson, saying that the old man's heart gave out, and the herbs were his medicine. You tried to help, and it didn't mean a thing. The junk heap. When you first go to the junk heap, you find two boys that are trying to find their mom. You volunteer to help find her, while knowing that she's been missing for a week. After fighting through countless machines, you eventually make it to the bottom of the junk heap, and you find her, dead. With a man the kids didn't mention, and supplies to leave. All signs point that she was leaving her kids for this man, and died in the process. Do you tell the kids the truth? Are things better because you dug deeper? Is it better that you and or the kids know that their mother is not only dead, but died while trying to abandon them? The runaway child. You find a father that is worried about his son. His son has run away to seafront, and the father wants him back. You track him down in seafront, and he says he would love to return to his father, but he just can't leave without thanking the tavern keeper who has been looking after him. You get a gift for the tavern keeper, but when you approach him, he has no idea what you're talking about. Looking around for the son, you find he has already skipped town. Eventually, you follow him to the dunes of Facade, talking to person after person, and finally finding him again. Just have to chase him down into the desert. Then, finally you convince him to go back to his father. However, when you return to the father, you find him and his son missing. Talking to a guard, you find they borrowed money from everyone in town and left. The father is a con man, and the son was trying to escape a life of crime, and you pulled him back into it. Almost everyone is worse off because you got involved. The despicable man. You find a young woman in the village asking you to find her boyfriend that she last saw 5 years ago, but she seems infatuated with him even after all this time. So you ask around and find that he went to the Forest of Myth. Quickly, you find a man there that recognizes his description, shouting that,
"If you find him, bring him back here so I can murder the bastard."
You follow the rumors to Seafront, where you find another woman who is smitten with the man, insisting that he will return to her. She also saw him. It's about 5 years ago. Following the stories of him selling counterfeit goods, you heard that he fled to the junk heap. You ask one of the junk heap boys about him. He says that his mother used to spend time with the man matching his description. You put it all together. The man his mother died running away with, and the man who left a string of abandoned women and broken households in his wake are one and the same. Not only did she die while abandoning her kids, she did it for a man that likely would have left her as he had done so many times before. Or maybe the man changed. Maybe. It just gets worse the more you look. A missing mother turns into a dead mother, turns into a mother abandoning her kids, turns into a mother abandoning her kids for a man that will likely leave her, and dying in the process. Lighthouse lady. You find a cranky old lady in seafront running the lighthouse. She asks you to deliver a letter for her. If you look, it's a letter for her love that is across the sea. After delivering the letter, you will soon walk in on her arguing with the postman.
You can't leave. Who's going to tend the lighthouse?
How much longer will you force me to toil here?
The postman asks you to talk to her. When you go to visit, you see that she isn't long for this world. She has the same sickness as your sister Yona, the Black Scrawl, a death sentence.
The disease curses the afflicted with strange runic symbols that gradually spread over the entire body, and I fear it is fatal.
She just wants to see her love one last time before she dies. However, as you go to talk to the postman, you find that the letters are a lie. Her love has been dead and gone for 50 years, and the postman's father and now the postman himself have been writing these letters in his place all this time.
Are you sure she's better off this way?
It's not a very happy truth now, is it?
What about her final request?
I don't know. How should I know? I'm just a damn postman.
As the postman comes clean, he gives you one more letter, saying that her love is on the way. She just has to wait for the long trip. Will you tell her? Will you tell her that the last 50 years have been a lie? Or on her deathbed, will you give her the comforting lie that she will finally see her love? What is better? I don't know. No matter what you decide, the mailman says he thinks you did the right thing. The first ending of the game, you save your sister Yona from the Shadow Lord. Well done. And if you stop there as the credits roll, you get a mostly happy ending, but there's some unanswered questions. What is going on with Kaine? What happened to Emile? Who was the Shadow Lord? What did Grimoire Noir want from Vice? These questions might push you to play through the whole game again. And the second playthrough gives you so much more context on what's going on. It's clear you are not some grand hero. You are doing good and bad things for good and bad reasons. And at the end of it, you find the first ending wasn't as happy as you thought it was. And you can't go back now. Now you know. The questions have depressing answers, and you still have more left unanswered. And so you can play through the game again, and again, and again. Each time you get more context, more information on how screwed up the world is, on how our characters deal with it in flawed and sometimes impulsive ways, and the effects those choices have. Nier is a vengeful person who hates shades no matter the context, and he knows his anger leads him to a dead end, and yet he follows the path all the same. Each ending gets more and more miserable than the last. At the end of the fourth playthrough, you can sacrifice yourself, your existence, and your actual save data to save Kaine. No one in the world will remember you existing, but she will be alive. Finally, a bittersweet ending that, while it's not perfect, you can finally unequivocally do the right thing. But did you? On the fifth playthrough, you find out what she's doing, how she is, and she is stuck in her old life, uselessly killing shades alone, day after day alone. She wanted to die on her terms with her friends, loved, but now you forced her to live alone without even remembering having friends that cared for her, where all she can do is kill to distract herself from being empty. Your big heroic moment you worked so hard for and lost everything for stole everything that mattered most from her. The deeper you dig, the more times you replay the game, the more endings you get, the worse things become. Each playthrough becomes more and more similar, while the combat becomes less and less engaging as you wildly outpace enemies. The combat becomes trite as the story slows down and asks you to replay everything again. With your focus no longer on the gameplay or the repeated story elements, you may look into the details, and the details make it more depressing. The item descriptions tell stories. You see an old woman losing her mind if you keep talking to her. The shades are humans, and the items they drop give you hints at what you are actually killing. When you try to help out, you don't change a thing. When you try to help, you make things actively worse. When you dig in, the situation gets worse and worse. If you dig into the lore, or even what this big flower means at the very end of the game, you find out our character's doomed humanity. And to top it off, Yona never gets cured. This game starts off with your sister getting sick with the Black Scrawl, and at every ending you have nothing to save her from it. All the while, the loading screens give you little hints that all she wants is to spend time with her brother. And your search for a cure stops that. The more you dig in, the worse it gets. So should you dig in? The game asks your character to tell the painful truth or tell a pleasing lie. Then, after you decide for your character, it has you answer that question for yourself. In a subtle way, you answer with your own actions. Not through a dialogue choice, not through a branching storyline, but through you as the player deciding to keep going. Deciding for yourself that as the credits roll, it's not enough, and you want to see the truth as messy and as painful as it is. Whether conscious of it or not, you decided to work for the painful truth or to leave it alone. So is it better to work for the painful truth? If I had the chance, would I forget all the endings past the first and be blissfully ignorant of the tragedy around these characters that I love? No, I wouldn't. It would take away such vibrancy from the story that I cannot imagine going back. In that case, is it wrong to stop? Is to not know how not okay things really are? No, I don't think it's reasonable to say everyone should strive to complete every ending and get all the context they can. There is a certain tension to it. Is someone who understands how not okay things are truly better than someone who doesn't understand? No, they're in a different place. Within this tension, there are extremes of being willfully ignorant or delving so deep that it consumes you. For each person, in each situation, inside this game and outside it, you need to make this decision on where you fall in this tension. And Nier Replicant gives you this question to answer for yourself.
You must search for that answer yourself. You've got to face your own truth now.
The truth will hurt. Will you dig for it?